Now then, this is another fixing video, as you will see shortly. But in the last video, I think it was the one where I was fixing harvester bars, the introduction, I was sat on a steel frame. Well, here it is now. Yeah, it was the remnants of a trailer that I built donkeys years ago for moving timber around, and it was parked up, and I decided that actually now better off being shorter and with a better bed on it, because before it was just rough sawn timber just wedged in. So we're virtually there. It's going to be quite a nice trailer, so that's been going on in the background. I didn't video it because it's a bit tedious really, sort of lots of thinking and lots of working out and then deciding what materials I can use to avoid spending any money. Anyway, so that was that. Something else that has occurred recently makes me want to talk to people about the right to determine things about your life, particularly towards the end of life. You know, I just feel that nowadays people should have the right to make decisions about that, and I'm going to do a video about it, but I haven't quite got it sort of fixed in my mind how I want to present it. But if anybody wants to have a comment about that in advance, then I'd appreciate that, because you know, when you're dealing with such a subject, you can put your own views forward, but there's a lot of counter views, or there's a lot of establishment or religious views that that you have to take into account. Anyway, enough of that. Let's crack on with this video. Oh, by the way, thanks for those people who have recently donated to the fund, and some people have just made a donation because I've helped them fix their grid inverters and sorted out some of their single phase to three phase problems. So thanks for that. We'll crack on. So this is the Proven turbine, and looking up, there's a ladder there. Why is that ladder there? Yeah, let's go up. Oh, there's a cable there. What's that cable there? Zooming in, if we can. There we go. We have yet another spring mounting gone. See, there's a spring there. And that one, like last time, a bit shaky. It's broken off. Whether or not I can zoom in anymore, too shaky, even with a tripod. Let's just have a go. Focus. No. Anyway, so we've got to wind the turbine down to be able to get to that, and we've done this once before. Right, let's crack on. To remind myself, we've got a big strop there, 5-ton strop I think it is, but it might be a 3-ton, and it comes all the way across here from that oak tree, and there is the turfer, and then we've got this yellow strop wrapped around this Norway spruce. And that's because last time I thought the spruce was in exactly the right place, but actually the winch point wants to be a couple of feet to this side. So that's how we've sorted that one out. I'm going to go undo the bolts on the bottom of the tower and lower it down. I'm just moving the legs that way a bit. As you can see, we've moved a bit, just so that the weight goes from straight up to there, and then we can. The winch cable is not tight but not slack, I suspect we're now lifting the winch cable off the ground, and I think that feels like it'll be enough. Hopefully that makes sense. There you go, see, we've moved it sufficiently. Right, we'll just wind this out a bit. Just a bit. I think the tower's not moving yet. So there we go, it's going over. We'll get on with the winching again. So, have we got the winch in about the right place? Let's have a look there. That's pretty close, isn't it? That will just pop over onto that pulley at some point with a bit of luck. Those sides do overlap the pulley, so it can't get jammed in there. Let's just leave this running a bit and see. So it looks like, no, I haven't got the winch in exactly the right place, so it needs to move over even further from that Norway spruce when I winch back up again. But we're nearly there. I don't really like that cable rubbing on that steel like that, but there's nothing I can do about it. So that now needs to go onto that trestle. So we'll just drop it down a bit more. So there we go. Let's have a brief look. So here's the Zebedee spring, and it's as I suspected, as last time. The mounting for the spring has broken, and that is because faulty manufacturing or really bad design, because that there is where the laser pierced for cutting this out, and it pierced inside the piece rather than outside the piece, which is appalling. So we'll have to make some more, and I'll go round and inspect all the rest to see if there's any cracks starting. I can't remember which one I replaced last time. I'll just have a look. This was the one that I did last time, and as you see, there are no nicks in those corners there, so I might be having to make quite a few of these, but I'll inspect everything and see what happens. Of course, this is another opportunity to do maintenance, and the main maintenance on these Provens is to grease the main bearings, and we've got some rust starting. So maybe that'll just want cleaning back and just painting up. I don't think it'll rust through that steel, but we might as well do it whilst we're here. So here's one of the spring sets, and we're just going to undo that knot there. Now it's stainless, not on a stainless thread. So we'll just have to put a bit of lube on there, or else it can bind up and seize up. There we go. Good. I've had it before where you start unthreading it, and after about half a dozen turns it tightens up and it starts to bond together effectively, and you have quite a job to remove it all. Right, we have a washer and a nylon washer. Okay, so washer, nylon washer, then one of the springs, and again that's on a bushing, and then a spacer, and then a bit of the broken bracket, and then another spacer, and then another one with a whee. Now where did that go? Just give me a minute, I'll find that. Right, I found it, thank goodness. Okay, so there we go. We have the two broken bits and the other bolty bit. And looking at this, there was not a lot of holding that on for quite a long time. There was a fracture in there. Let's go on the other bench where there's better light. So that is mucky, so that's not a fresh break, and all the way along there it's not a fresh break until that last little bit there. And this one, it's mucky there and at the end, and this is the other bit, and the nut has been welded in, and that could again have been part of the problem. But if you look at this one here, that's where that laser cutter started, and the crack comes directly from there. Any of you metallurgists who are watching, comments would be much appreciated. Now that goes on there, and on these ones it seems like that bolt is in line with that hole. Yeah. Now let's just zoom out a bit. I was hoping to use this bracket here. That's off that wrecked turbine that I collected a few years ago. But as you can see, the bolt and the mounting bolt are offset. So I can't use that unless I change them all. Which, I don't know, what do you think? There is some wear there. I think I covered this in the last video. There's a bit of wear there. And on the other end, let's just flip this over. Where are we? Let's find it. Here we go. There's a lot of wear there and there. In fact, there's a washer missing. So I'm not sure. I assume these, what I would call forged steel, drop forged steel, something like that, cast steel, and I assume these are a later, I don't like to say innovation when you're talking about Proven, but a later design compared to this bent stainless steel. However, they're only good if they're put together right, and it looks like they weren't. So I think I'll have to make another one of these. So I dug out this piece of stainless steel, which is about 2.5 mil. I used some of this last time, and I've cut this out. I've made it bigger than the original, and if that fits, that's great. If not, we can grind it down a bit. And then got this block of oak, and I'm just going to bend that around this oak because that is the right thickness, 18 mil. So I've made this up. It was a bit difficult bending this stainless as tight as the original, but we got somewhere close. And I put a piece of wood in here, so A, I could hold this, and B, I could just drill straight through. 3 different sizes of drill to avoid work hard in the stainless. And then I drilled the hole here, and if you remember, this is the original mounting bolt, and it had a piece of the original bracket sticking up here, so I've cut that off, and then of course that can go in there, and we don't need to weld it in place like they have here and introduce stress. That will just stop it from turning. Hopefully that makes sense. So we'll crack on with that and put it back together. Alright, I've put this back together. It's all done. And as you notice, focus, that's heavier duty and bigger than the one the other end, which I've inspected, and it seems to be alright, because it doesn't seem like the blade end ones are the ones that gave up. Anyway, interesting, this spring assembly from the wrecked turbine, of which I did several videos about, the springs are shorter. There you go, and they've got these offset brackets like this. So anyway, that's just something to note. Not all Proven 2.5 Zebedee springs are all the same. There's different lengths, and this bracket here, which would be the blade end one, seems to be the other way round, but it may be because I've had that apart and just put it back together the wrong way around because of the offset. If the offset was the other way round, and there's a pin there which seems like it's probably a locating pin, so that would determine which way round that went. And the other one, which is the other end with the shorter bolt, which is on the wind shaft, doesn't have a pin. So there you go. Anyway, just a bit of extra info. So there we go. The tower's back up. The turbine's fixed, and no doubt we won't have any wind for a couple of days, which that's the rules with turbines really. You fix them and then the wind drops away to nothing for a while. And if you look at the leaves there, they're not moving at all. There's not a breath. Hopefully this has been informative. Catch up with you soon. Cheers for now.